there's one episode in particular that I think really does a great job of hitting some of these themes. It's episode 7 in season 1, and it's all about a potential recall. So in a roundabout way, they find out that the wrong pawls, I don't even know what that is, a PAWL, have been installed in an SUV, and that's something that prevents the car from rolling out of park. And the characters don't really know what the heck it is either, so that's kind of funny.
Aaron and I are both
Googling.
Paul, we're really showing our ignorance here.
Transmission parking pawl.
Yes, exactly.
What is a parking
It is a device fitted to a motor vehicle's automatic transmission that locks up the transmission when the transmission shift lever selector
is in park.
In park.
Right. So basically, they've put pawls that should be in a lighter car into a heavier car. They freak out and are like, oh my God, are we going to have to recall 2 million of these cars? And there's a lot of confusion and a lot of deliberation about what is the moral thing to do, what is the ethical thing to do, and they stay up all night thinking about this. And they get exhausted and they're really tormented by it, and they start talking about what it is that they're making. One of the characters is an engineer, and he has kind of a revelation.
I just wanted to make nice things. Didn't even have to be cars. Now, the thing I made could be responsible for killing people? It's a real mind.
I worked in pharma for 20 years. Probably killed a lot of people. You get used to it.
That's Ana Gasteyer there.
Really good. Yeah.
She's really
Gotta
good.
Give her that, yeah.
But it raises this question, right, of cars being things that kill people. Now, they never really grapple with the fact that, of course, by designing cars, you are designing things that kill people all the time.
Right. It's not just a faulty car that kills people. It's a car working as designed,
Right.
Yeah, as intended.
But that it's even raised at all, and that the car industry is essentially equated with the pharmaceutical industry here in terms of its reckless disregard for the well-being of Americans, I think is pretty radical. And at the end of this episode, there is a moment that I'm going to have to describe because there's no audio. So after they're done having this debate, which actually ends with them deciding to do nothing, that they're so tormented that they just end up saying like, oh, well, I guess we're just going to go home. And they basically just let it slide, which has consequences I'll tell you about later. But after they are done, this janitor comes in to clean up, and he sees a whiteboard that they've been working on, and it's got a chart on it. The axes are income and value of human life. And as the value of human life is held higher, income goes down. And the janitor, who's an older black man, is looking at this chart, and you see the chart, and this is just a few seconds, you see this chart about the value of human life being negatively correlated with profits, and then you see a reaction shot of him and just this horror on his face. And that, to me, was a pretty intense moment, and where they really got to the heart of it, as listeners to this podcast know. If there's anything that Sarah Goodyear loves to rant about, it's how little we value human life in the United States of America, whether it's in terms of the opioid crisis or the car crisis or the gun crisis, whatever. We just don't really care about deaths as long as that profit line is good.